Hey everybody, I'm Novi and welcome back to the channel. AEW has not been shy about signing new wrestlers over the years, we know that. 2023 and 2024 have had one major key difference though, and that's that AEW has had more opportunity than they ever have before to sign more main event level talents. Not even just main event talent either, also top tier mid-carders as well. This has led to a lot of people that were constant top billings in AEW getting shifted downwards away from title scenes and main events. Today, I want to look at a few names in AEW that are on the verge of just that, and I want to ask whether or not that's valid, while also giving my take on whether these wrestlers can rebound upwards or not. Or in other words, will this year make or break them as top stars? Before we do get into it though, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We yap about graps every single Saturday. First, let's start off with a name that is very relevant to this conversation, Wardlow. I know there's a lot of people that would say his make or break year has already passed and that he broke, but I'm not entirely there yet. Undeniably, the Wardlow project has been rough for a while now, but there was a time where I thought his act was really good. And it wasn't just me, he was super over after turning on MJF and starting up the Powerbomb Symphony stuff. There were plenty of people online that were gassing this guy up and saying he had a lot of potential. I mean, it's pretty understandable given that a guy his size can do a pretty gorgeous looking swanton, which is exactly the reason why I personally don't think that his wrestling is the root of the problem. I think it's actually how they booked him to only do power bombs and that wind-up lariat and almost nothing else in 2-minute TV squashes for going on 2 years now. These are squashes that you cannot even see on Cage Match because they were so short and against such nobodies, they don't even bother listing them. But if you just watch the show, you know how many of them that there were. At the end of 2023, they actually tried to do something different with his character though, and paired him with the Undisputed Kingdom. Well, actually, I'd probably say that different is a very funny term, because he's basically the same guy that he has always been. Same stale 2-minute squash on TV every week. Same brooding silent heavy in the faction. And worst of all, same turning on the faction leader storyline. That isn't even the funniest part of it though. The funniest part is that they couldn't even wait to do it again. Adam Cole teased it in the group's first ever promo on live TV. For a storyline that everyone is kind of over, it's really funny how foaming at the mouth they were to get it on TV once again. But outside of Wardlow alone, the group as a whole isn't working either, so it's just really done him no favors. It was actually when he was away from the group on his own for the first time in I don't know how long that he cut a really good promo on Dynamite. So good in fact, it kind of made me hopeful that they knew and understood that they had to change his presentation up. But it's been a few weeks now and they haven't done anything substantial to make me believe that that's true, so I'm kind of over that now. If we're being honest, he's probably just going to continue to be the same Wardlow that we've known for 2+ years now, maybe even 3, which is only going to lead to more and more people wanting him off TV, as it has for as long as he's been around. So ultimately, no, I don't think that this will be a make it year for Wardlow. Moving on, I'm not so sure everyone would agree with me, but I think that it's a make or break it year for Britt Baker. With all these women that AEW have, like Athena, Chris Statlander, and especially the new rival Mercedes Moné, she looks like less and less the star that she was way back when. This isn't to say that she can't assert herself back in the conversation though. A lot of the issue that people had with her before she took this extended break was her overexposure on TV. Sure, she could cut a promo and she could do great character work, we know that about her, but the one women's match on Dynamite just shouldn't be going to her as often as it was, which is because of her biggest issue. Her in-ring work is just not there. She's slow, she's sloppy, her offense looks very loose, and just overall, she's not a great worker. Don't get me wrong though, she has had great matches when she's mixed it up with the right opponent or ran the blade to get the right amount of color, but looking back at her match catalog, there's a lot of mid to bad stuff between those sparks of greatness. The thing about DMD is though, match quality was never what made her the face of the division in the first place. Like I mentioned, it was always her presence and her character work, and I think she still has the potential to excel at those again. The question is, with the division much more stacked than when she first got over, full of women who can cut damn good promos and have even better matches, Can she stand out like she did before? I personally think there's a great chance that she can. That is, as long as she evolves with the division. I've seen reports that she's training harder than she ever has before for this return, and I truly hope that she is. If she's improved in the ring to the point where she doesn't stand out like a sore thumb in matches with even above average workers, her presence will probably be enough to where her taking up a Dynamite match won't be so bad, at least not as bad as it was before. Something I'd really like to see in addition to her getting better in the ring is just a whole character rework and refresh. Alongside her overexposure, one of the worst parts about Britt Baker before she took this break was her long-winded, burying the entire division promos that just left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. And I think I can speak for everyone when I say this, I don't want to see stuff like that anymore, because this division and AEW as a whole has evolved beyond that. I'd even go so far as to argue it's evolved past a lot of the stuff that she did before. So for this to be a make it year for Britt Baker, she's gotta come back a brand new wrestler to me. Otherwise, she'll just go back to being someone who takes TV time from other women that are rising up around her, like the ones I mentioned, and she'll just be back to where she was before. Finally, we have Malakai Black, who has had a really odd run with AEW. He had gotten fired from WWE and came over when Vince McMahon was still booking the show like so many others did. However, when Vince was removed as the booker and succeeded by Triple H, it felt like Malakai was ready to go right back. Of course, he wasn't the only one. Guys like Johnny Gargano, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, Karrion Kross, and even former AEW wrestler, which is still kind of funny, Andrade El Idolo, seem to feel the exact same way. When it comes to Malakai in particular, I want to stress that this presumed feeling of his wasn't reported anywhere, but I just feel like we can infer it through a general feel of things, similar to how a lot of people did with Andrade before he went back. I'll mention him one more time for good measure. Andrade El Idolo was also one of Triple H's guys back in Black and Gold NXT. So his presumed logic for wanting to go back is genuinely understandable, regardless of how people think his run will go in actuality. The big problem with all of this is though, he's all elite and he's signed a contract, and if reports are to be believed, it's for a long time. And there's simply no way that Tony Khan is just gonna let him waltz right back over to WWE like nothing happened if he can help it. Whether or not you agree with that is up to you. I know I don't, but it is the nature of the game. Now, I wasn't watching NXT Black and Gold, but Malakai is someone I've always enjoyed, both for his Muay Thai offense that commentary never fails to mention, and also the reason why most people like him, his presence as a character, which is something that he absolutely retains, even though now I think you can see that his body is really beat up and worn down. If I had to guess, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think that's genuinely the reason why he doesn't have singles matches anymore. Tony Khan doesn't just keep him from singles matches for no reason either. There has to be something to that, and I think that's what it is. I know fans of his absolutely beg for him to be in those matches again, but I just don't think that his body is up for that task. Even when factoring in that major limiter though, I think that Malakai can still deliver solid in-ring performances with the assistance that tag matches offer, if he's willing to do so. He still has that presence which makes him stand out amongst the pack like I mentioned, and that's not easy to come by. So if Malakai Black wants to make, not break this year, he will simply grab that tag rope. You know what, actually, talking about Malakai has made me want to talk about one more group of people here at the end. It's a make or break year for everyone who doesn't want to be in AEW. Just take a look at one of the most recent signings to the company, Will Ospreay, who cut a promo on Dynamite that was so inspired, so passionate, so full of heart, it only left me feeling one way when it was all said and done. If you're not willing to die for this all elite wrestling shit, this pro wrestling shit, get out of town. Don't literally die, but this company does not need people that are only here for the paycheck or only view it as a stepping stone. When you have as stacked of a roster as AEW does, there's only so much TV time to go around, and I'd much rather see it go to people who work hard to elevate everyone and everything around them. No more Chris Jericho at big business types that don't fit the level that the show is on. You have talents on the level of Mercedes Moné, Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, Kazuchika Okada, and Will Ospreay on your show back to back to back to back to back. So don't let anybody that doesn't fly the flag on there with them. AEW has assembled the best roster maybe of all time, and I think it's time to hone in on that and cut the fat. We can have big business level shows every single week, all the time, and I think that in 2024, we will. But if your contract is expiring and it's coming up in 2024, either elevate yourself, step up, or it's time to pack your bags. I'm sorry to say it, but that's what AEW is now. But with all that, we're going to end the video right there. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and then leave a comment on who you think is in make or break years, or maybe comment on someone that I mentioned. I also want to give a special shout out and a thank you to everyone who joined me on my Big Business pre-show live stream this past Wednesday. I had a great time answering your questions and talking about the card, so it's definitely something I plan on doing again. So keep an eye on my Twitter @itsnoviak, and also be on the lookout for any scheduled live streams on the channel so you can be there for some live Graps talk. For now though, it's been Novi. Much love to you all. Peace.